All right, so this week we're talking about the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago's mentoring program. And our first question is, so first off, we're going to be breaking it down different elements of the system, what went well, what would we have done differently, stuff like that. So first off, we're going to talk about the success of the pilot program. So what are some of the positive results that came from the pilot program?
I think for me, one of the things that I thought was really cool was just kind of the network, kind of the net of people that they all had. It seemed like a lot of people became really close friends with their mentors.
Awesome. Yep.
And going along with that one, I also liked how not only the mentor and mentee got close, but like all the mentees would talk with each other, and they built this support group for each other that made the company a happy place, which was a good change from what it used to be.
Yeah. There was also a lot of like different opportunities that were opened up to people that they didn't really realize that they had, or some people were even promoted. Like people just got a lot more comfortable within their job or learned more, or just like I was saying, a lot of people felt pretty like they're just like complacent, but they were able to improve in things they didn't even know that they needed to.
Perfect. So I've got 5 bullet points here. You guys got 4 of them. Kaylee, you touched on 3 right there at the end with loyalty to the bank, other opportunities within the bank, and then the increase in promotions from within. And then Nick and Jeremy, you guys both touched on the networking, the relationships built through the program. And then the last one too, if you guys can recall, was the drawing more attention for increased education and going back to school and such. So, taking advantage of that program that they offered.
For sure.
All right. What are some reasons behind these positive results?
I think one thing is that they tried really hard to match the mentor and mentee to like well, so everyone had someone that would, I don't know, fit for them and help them the most.
Excellent. I think that was actually a huge point that led to the success, because I know if I was partnered with someone who was quite different than myself, I don't know how well we'd get along. So I think that was a huge step.
I also kind of thought it was cool. I mean, just the fact that they did pair them off individually, and that they chose partners for them. I don't know if you guys ever had it like in elementary school or middle school, or even high school or college, where the teacher says get together with a partner and you don't know anyone in the class really, and you're kind of like, you know, awkwardly sitting there until someone's like, you guys want to be partners? I feel like that's a cool thing for sure, that they just paired them up and kind of just made them work together.
And I think too, for how I guess it goes into the process they put into choosing partners, but how they made sure everyone would get along, but they were different people too, like in different pay grades and different places in their lives, so that they could add a lot of value to the mentee's life.
Okay. Some other points that are on here were talking about how involved Rubenstein was throughout embracing her role and taking fully charge of it and making it matter. And with that, along those same lines, is the overall support that she was able to get from the management, showing that they were behind the program to make sure everyone's on board. Some other elements, we're talking about the training that was provided to the mentors and the mentees. And then lastly, and this is kind of interesting to me because they point that this is an obvious one, which we'll talk about more in detail later on, but talked about the voluntary nature of the program.
Is that kind of referring to the fact that, like, since everybody volunteered, they all kind of know they're there for each other?
I think it's that element, but I also think another part of that is these people who volunteered to come forward, they showed the desire to want to improve themselves.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So if you have employees who you force it upon, they're not going to capitalize for it because it feels like they're being forced, rather than them wanting that, having that fire inside to want to become better. So, I mean, this is last question. It kind of was answered. It talks about the connection between the reasons and the results, and why those reasons brought those results. Which, Jeremy, you were talking about a little bit, talking about the well, you guys have all talked about it, but the matching and how that allowed for people to be able to communicate better with each other, less quarreling, and overall better results that way. So I have my opinion, but I'm just curious to get yours. Of the different results that we talked about and the reasons for them, what do you guys feel is the most important?
Result of the program itself.
That or the reason? Like what elements allowed for the success? What do you think is the most important element?
Well, I like that you brought attention to the voluntary nature of it, because I think that is a really big part. I mean, I think there would be some employees that would take advantage of the opportunity, even if they're like being forced to do it. But I think these people are people that really want to improve, and I think that shows you, like, it shows management that you are willing to take steps forward within the company. And so I think that was a big part of the success, because these people, like, there was one time where that someone like wanted to quit or something, and then they just talked to the mentor or Rubenstein or something like that, and they just helped them work through it. But it's like something that they committed to on like a personal level. It's not really something required of them. So I think that made a huge difference in like wanting to pursue it and like complete it.
I agree with that one. I think that the volunteering aspect of it was so important, especially in building like the relationships, because if you had the whole company forced to do it, or you force people to do it, I don't think they would have that bond and that support group for each other during the process and after the process that they have now, that really started to change the company and improve it.
Okay.
Well, I also think it would have fallen apart pretty fast. I don't think it would have made it the full year had they been forcing the company. Kind of how they had said, a lot of programs they'd introduced kind of came in and were kind of gone pretty fast. I think that would have been probably what would have happened.
Okay. Yeah, you know, it's interesting. I'm trying to think. I myself am a very strong-willed person, so like I try to take advantage of opportunities like these. But I also have this desire to want to control, and so often I want some of my coworkers to take classes because I'm like, this will make you better, and it's better for the team if you do. But it is certainly an interesting element of the voluntary mentality as opposed to an obligation. So that it'll be interesting. Initially, my thought was just the value that was put into making the matches count. That was my thoughts, but you guys all feel like the voluntary is huge, and I don't think you're wrong with that. Do you feel that any of these are specific to the bank, or would they work for any organization?
I think they could work for any organization, just because the bank didn't really gear anything specifically towards the bank. It was all just general, like, we're going to have you have a mentor and a mentee. We're going to pair you together with people who are kind of like-minded. And I think that can be applied to almost anywhere that has a hierarchy. type situation.
I think that's a good point. I mean, anywhere with like a hierarchy kind of situation where it is an organization and it really does feel like a family. I mean, I know where I work right now, since we're all considered, I mean, in our own respect, small business owners, kind of makes it hard to really get that family environment as much. I mean, I feel like we're all fairly separated. But I feel like in a big organization, you can really make it work. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it would work in most organizations, especially ones that are bigger and have that hierarchy. But I mean, maybe even in a smaller organization, it worked on a smaller level just to make things a little more personal. But I think the general idea would work for pretty much anyone.
I agree with you guys. I think it is transferable. The elements that they have, I don't think anything is unique to them. All right, so now talking about the team or like the mentoring, how can mentoring help employees with career development?
I think that was one of the coolest things I saw. Just the fact that I think it was after the first time they did it, weren't there like 7 promotions, something like that?
Right.
Just as far as them really kind of taking advantage of their mentor, learning and boosting their career, getting to the next level. It's cool.
I thought it was also, I think it makes a difference when you know that people within the company are expecting you to, or even encouraging you to, like, make those next steps, make those improvements. Because if you feel like you're just kind of stuck in one place, then you don't really want to. I don't know. You probably feel like you can't develop your career any further. But I think having those people walk you through some steps and show you like what they've experienced, what works, what doesn't, I think that's just really helpful. Especially if they're obviously in the same field as you, and so it's helpful to see where you want to go and know exactly how they did it. So.
I agree with what both of you said. Just kind of having someone who's been in your shoes before, been there, and then overcome the obstacles to advance in the career. It's always nice to see their perspective, see how they kind of got there, and then kind of build your own way there based on what they did or learning from their experiences.
I think one element, like one of the scenarios from the case that I really liked, I liked the idea of I think the one person who was into art and had a marketing background and didn't know how to apply it or to relate. But because of the matching, they were able to kind of connect off those things and take even deeper conversations with each other. I know when I got hired on in my current job, I had a trainer for like 2 months, and so he was able to take me under his wing, kind of teach me tricks of the trade, and I know how that was able to really shape me into becoming the kind of employee that I am with this company. And then I've had the opportunity to now train other people, so reverse the shoes, and it's pretty neat to be able to establish that relationship, because now whenever any of those guys need help, they feel comfortable shooting me a call and asking me, knowing that I'm more than happy to help. So it is kind of cool to see that.
For sure.
What other approaches or programs might help employees to develop their careers?
I think one of the things it mentioned was, or maybe it was in the other reading, but just having like a like education type, like reimbursement plan type thing, like they'll pay for your schooling. Just having those kind of policies within a company, I think would be helpful to get people to want to, I mean, if you're wanting to go back to school, but maybe just having some other policies that help you to develop your career. I don't know what other policies.
I think that's a good point. Yeah. When you were saying that, it also reminded me of another portion, similar kind of thinking, I think there was one of the employees that was like complaining that they had to go and make up like 2 days of work for going to the training. Was that on
Yes.
that reading? I thought it was. Okay, I'm not crazy. But just the company maybe taking that into account and saying, you know, if we're really investing in their learning and we want this to be an important thing for them, something that'll help them grow, maybe figure out a way so they don't have to make up those 2 days of work, so it's a little less on their shoulders.
Jeremy, you got any thoughts?
I think having managers or upper heads who are enthusiastic about what they're doing and like kind of showing this is where you can go, like there's opportunities to grow in the company, and just having the managers and the people who are over other people let the people below them know there's opportunities to grow here. I'm excited about my job, and like this is what you can do. Because I know in where I'm working, my manager is super happy about her work. She loves it. She's super into it. And she's kind of inspired me to go a different route in my career than I was first thinking.
All right, very cool. I know working for the city, one of the things that we have is we have emails come through all the time that are offering trainings that are provided through the city, and they're trainings for all sorts of different things. It could be communication, it could be supervisor kind of stuff, personal growth. They offer 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. They offer that whole course, and so it's just all these different trainings that all of a sudden, if you're interested, you kind of just touch base with your supervisor and say, hey, I'm interested in this course. Do you mind? And usually it's never a problem. And so that's always been kind of neat. I've been able to take a few of those courses, and I feel like that's helped me to become better as an individual and then better as an employee with some of the different trainings I've received. So I think, you know, being able to just offer those training courses throughout helps as well. Have any of you guys had an opportunity to experience mentoring as a mentee or mentor?
In my job, I worked as a sales associate when I first started with the company, and it's not something that everybody does when they start with the insurance agency, but I started under another agent, worked for him for about 6 months to 9 months, somewhere in that range. And he was able to be a real mentor to me. I based a lot of what I did off of what he does. Shot a rubber band, sorry. Yes, that was my experience.
Okay.
I guess not really, but on a really smaller level. I work in the library, and every semester they hire new people. And so I've had a lot of opportunities to train people and just kind of show them the ropes kind of thing. And like from that, I've like noticed that a lot of people know that they can come to me for questions, even though I'm not like their supervisor. I'm just kind of coworker, but they like, I think what I really like about my job is that my boss makes sure that we all feel comfortable helping each other, and that we all can learn from each other in like almost a mentor type way, but on like a peer level. I don't know if that's the same thing, but kind of feels like it.
No, it's a little informal, but absolutely the right concept. So
My boss, so I work at a bakery, and my boss, she went to pastry school. She learned everything, and she's been helping me like during the summers improve my skills and learn more, and she knows I'm really passionate about it. And I was just going to graduate in business and didn't know what to do, but she's been mentoring me, kind of guiding me through the whole culinary process, seeing what it's like. And she's actually inspired me to go to a little culinary school. I might do more after I graduate, but I haven't decided. But she's just been helping me through the whole process, seeing how it can affect me, seeing where I can end up. It's been really cool.
That's awesome.
Okay, very cool. Are any of you guys RMs? So Nick, you've got the experience of being a trainer and a trainee,
Yep.
so that's going to be similar as well. So with that, what are some of the benefits, the obstacles, and some of the downsides?
Sorry, of
Mentoring.
I mean, I guess if you didn't get along with your mentor, if it was absolutely terrible, I could see that being a downside.
I think the greatest benefit to it is that you kind of both get to learn things from each other, because someone new coming in might have some different ideas, and the mentor might obviously knows a little more than the person coming in. But I think I've had people train me who just don't have no interest in my ideas. They just want to tell me how it is. And so I think that can get a little like headbutting, but if you have that kind of situation. But other than that, I think it's a good place to learn from each other.
I think mentoring is also a really good place for you to get feedback. You can kind of see, this is where I need to improve to get where I want to be. And it's just an unbiased opinion on how you can improve.
You know, it's interesting, going kind of what Nick said. If you guys don't get along, I don't know if it's necessarily a downside. I think I describe it more as an obstacle. But obviously, if you can't overcome that obstacle, then it would be a downside. But overall, kind of like as Kayla's pointed out, you have opportunities to learn from each other no matter what. And I see that as certainly, the benefits of it. And even if they were negative, to learn from each other, you're still learning. And so if you look at it from that perspective, it's still a benefit because you're coming out more knowledgeable on the other end. So anyway, kind of interesting on that one. All right. Now we're going to analyze the program that they were using a bit more, and it says, would a less formal mentoring program be even better when mentees are free to find whatever mentors they need to help them progress in their careers rather than being assigned to someone?
I think it'd be tough.
I think it could be better for a couple people, just like a few who know exactly what they want to do and can kind of be guided to find that right mentor. But I feel like a lot of the people probably just wanted to improve and have this mentor to help them, and having someone else assign it and connect them is a better way than trying to find it on their own, because then it's done for you. You have your mentor and you just go and talk to them and it happens.
Yeah, and I think I like that they're assigned, because it kind of forces you to build that relationship with that person and like learn from them specifically. Because if you were just given free reign to just kind of talk to anyone, you might just choose someone that you either, maybe don't know as well, and you're just kind of seeing what they've done from afar, or maybe it's like the only person you're really comfortable with, and so you just kind of go for that. But I think being assigned someone is a little more comfortable because you both feel like we have to be here, but it's also they specialize that person for you, so it's not just some random. So I don't know, I thought it worked well.
I agree.
I think you guys touched on a lot of great points. As I was trying to think about it, Jeremy talked about, I agree. I think there's a few people who maybe could benefit from it because they're the kind of guys that go over and beyond. They're looking for growth, so they're going to seek out a mentor that's going to offer them growth. But kind of like Kayla's pointing out, and I agree with you, Kayla, that I think the majority are just going to find someone they're buddies with, and it may not. And with that, they're going to find someone, I think, that they have a lot in common with. So much so that if I'm kind of a lazy person, that mentor is kind of a lazy person, and we're not really pushing each other to be better. And with that, I think it's good that they did assign them. Again, going back to the person with the art, she got partnered up with someone who was quite a bit higher. Was one of the assistant directors up top higher. And what are the odds of her being even thinking to approach someone of that high up as a mentor? And yet here was the connection she needed, and all of a sudden she saw huge opportunities. And so, yeah, I think it allows you to be able to step outside your comfort zone and really be able to grow. So why would a company want to create a formal mentoring program rather than allowing mentoring relationships to form more naturally?
I feel like we kind of covered a lot of that one.
Right, yeah. What might have been improved in the Federal Reserve Bank program?
I liked what Kayla said earlier, just with maybe, I don't know, compensating you for your learning time, something like along the lines of that.
I'm not so sure if that was necessarily the problem. I think the issue was they didn't know how. I'm again, my feelings, my interpretations of it was that the departments were not managing their work accordingly, in the sense that they were still leaving a full load for that person to complete, rather than trying to recognize, hey, can we separate this work, or can we receive some assistance in our department during these trainings? To say when these few people are gone, we feel rather light-handed, and we could use some assistance, even if it's just for those couple hours. And that way, we don't get backed up.
Yeah.
I know that some of the people in the study, they actually stress that same concern, and they wish that management would approach those departments and say that, this is a team effort. We're all going to benefit in the long run. And I know some of you mentioned that earlier as well. But just being able to stress that, we are benefiting from this. I know it seems like a stress a little bit now, but in the long run, this will add opportunities for growth and development. So, any other thoughts?
I don't know, I thought it was run really well. I think that was pretty much the only problem, is that not everyone was, there's just little glitches with like those days that were a little off with work and everything. But I don't know what else to improve.
What do you guys think about the 1-year timeline?
I think it's actually pretty good, because it makes you have to commit to a long-term goal. And if you're doing something for a year, it makes you want to continue doing it. I mean, a lot of the people kept relationships with their mentors and like went on to further like their education or do other growth opportunities. And so I don't know, I think it was only like maybe a couple months and they'd feel like, all right, got that done, checked it off the list. But I don't know, I feel like it'd be too fast. I think a year is a good amount of time to see a lot of change happen in your life.
What about 6 months?
I think 6 months could be like good, like because a year can be kind of daunting to some people. That's like a pretty big commitment. So if they did like a 6-month thing where you could see how it went for 6 months, and then at the end of the 6 months you could continue for 6 more months or drop out, just depending on how it's influencing you or not. Because I think by 6 months, a lot of people are going to see the benefits of it and want to continue. And the ones who aren't seeing the benefits, why should they keep going?
Okay. What about the one-on-one mentoring and then the circle group mentoring?
I thought both were good, kind of in their own right. I think I kind of like the fact that they did have both going on.
Yeah. I agree. I think the one-on-one is an important thing to have, because you feel like there's someone doing it with you, especially if it is a year. That is pretty long, I guess. But if you have someone there you know they'll be there the whole year. They will kind of keep track of your progress the same way that you are. But I think the circle mentoring was also a good idea. Just get a little more feedback and more ideas, more discussion, I guess.
Okay.
I also feel like that circle mentoring kind of helps expand that network a little bit more. I mean, you get close to your mentor, but you also kind of get close to the people around your circle mentoring group.
Yeah.
What are some of your thoughts and feelings about the trainings that were offered to the mentors and the mentees? Now, these last several questions I'm making up on the fly right now. I'm just throwing them out there to just think about. So,
Do you mean like the 2-day training at the very beginning?
they had that, and then if you look at Exhibit 7, it breaks down all the different guest speakers and stuff that they had come and address the specific groups with content that they could use to become better mentors or how to benefit more as a mentee. So, and they did this on, it looks like, almost a monthly basis. Some were combined, others were just mentees, and others were just mentors.
I think it was probably a good idea to do that, just to keep everyone unified, make sure everyone's on the right track. I don't know.
I think it's awesome. They're already on this path of self-improvement, and it's always good to get a little bit more information on that during the path.
It also
Okay.
seemed like some of those were just kind of, I mean, like mentor breakfast meeting, mentee breakfast meeting, kind of maybe like touch points. Like, are you guys still enjoying it? Is it still working out for you? How's it going? I think that's probably a good thing to have.
Okay. All right. So now with the Federal Reserve moving forward, why do you think less people signed up for it the second round?
I just felt like a lot of it was, they didn't have nearly as much promotion. I'm looking for the right word, like advertisement on it all. Kind of like, didn't they say they'd cut that back quite a bit for the second round?
Yep.
I was honestly pretty confused by that because they had like too many people apply to first round, so you would think those people that didn't get it would maybe want to do it, which maybe they did. And then I don't know, I just thought there was such good feedback and everyone would seem like they was talking to each other, so I don't know why I don't know, that kind of confused me.
Well, and it might have been just the word of mouth feedback not being enough. I know for the third round they had they had all the people get up and talk about their experiences and stuff like that. That probably created a lot of excitement within the company. So maybe not having that.
Maybe people didn't know if it was going to be the same or if they changed some things, or I don't know, yeah, maybe it just wasn't promoted enough.
Yeah.
It could be something like people saw that it was coming back again, so they're like, oh, I could do this next year type thing. I don't have to worry about it right now because they're going to have it again.
It's interesting. So looking kind of back over the numbers, so the first time they had 37 mentors apply and 44 mentees apply. And we know that they took 25 of each, leaving 12 mentors, essentially 12 potential mentors and 19 potential mentees. And it says they got 23 later on. And so my thought is, going back to the volunteer basis, is it just those same group coming back now, and then maybe a couple others through word of mouth? And so with that being said, I kind of want to go off what Nick mentioned and encourage. I think they should have done more advertising for it. I think the lack of it is what hurt them, to where the only ones who did come back were the ones who knew initially or through word of mouth, and not that they remade an effort. And with that, I think an increase in marketing would have helped, in trying to recognize ways to promote it. Maybe having a lunch for like the whole bank or something like that, or different areas where you could have. They talked about the lunch they had at the very end, their success party, and I think that in and of itself would be really good if they had that in a setting where other people from the bank could have seen it. To where then they get a full testimonial from members who participate in this program, and then all of a sudden they think, oh, maybe I'm interested in that, rather than just hearing it from supervisors, but now they're hearing it from colleagues.
I agree. I think people also get excited when they hear they hear other employees saying, yeah, I got a promotion in doing it this way, and this is my experience. Definitely, I think it pushes people towards it.
It's crazy if you think about 7 of the 25 got promotions. That's what, almost about 25%. It's like, everyone said they liked it. All of them talked about having a better relationship with their mentor or mentee. So it's like, if you got a great relationship out of it, a colleague who you feel more comfortable talking to, that would be great. But nonetheless, if you have a 25% chance of being one of the few who got promoted, and if the program improves and you have even more people getting promoted, is it not worth that involvement in and of itself? So maybe sharing some of those statistics might maybe motivate some more people. So all of these are going into the next question, which I'll just read. It says, what could the company have done to get more applicants?
I think kind of same things, just advertising and making sure people know the prior people's experiences.
Yeah, I think just the advertising aspect was needed improvement.
So what form of advertising would you guys suggest?
I would say having the mentees talk to their friends about what a success it was for them. Make sure all of them get it out to people, because that's the best way to get people to get involved, is having their friends tell them about it.
Okay.
I like your idea of the sorry.
No, you go for it.
The lunch, or just having a big company-wide lunch or something, so that everyone is involved, everyone gets to hear the same thing from the same person, no one's getting misled in any way, and just making sure everyone is getting the same information. And I think a lunch is a good way to do that if they can.
Who doesn't like some food?
Yeah, it's good incentive to come.
You got my attention. I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay. What should they do with the mentoring program moving forward? Should they expand it, or should they keep it small?
I mean, I think if there's a lot of demand for it, like a lot more, then maybe they expand it. I think so far they've had a lot of success with about that 20 to 25 person program, 20 to 25 group program.
Yeah, I agree. I think just depending on, if say they got another 40 people applying, I think maybe expand it. But if they only have 20 people applying, then just keep it small. But I wouldn't expand it more than I don't know, 50.
Okay.
Yeah, I think expansion's good, but not too far. Because if you go too far into expanding it, you kind of lose the small, intimate nature of the group that was really helpful to everyone.
Okay. Interesting but valuable points. Okay, this is a repetitive question. How do you get more people without forcing them to be involved? I think the biggest thing is just drawing awareness so that they know about it.
Yeah.
And I think like you said, tell people about the benefits of it, the chance for promotion, the closeness of the group.
Yeah, just making sure everyone knows like what it means, like what they're committing to and what they will get out of it, rather than just like reading a poster that is really vague and they just don't really know what's going to happen. I mean, a year is a long thing to commit to, so just
You
making sure
know,
everyone knows.
I just had the thought, what if, okay, so we knew that some of the departments felt additional stress, when they were lightheaded. And I wonder if any of the colleagues in that department all of a sudden felt like, well, if I'm gone too, then I might be placing extra burden on my department. And so they're not as willing to pursue it, or they just have built that thought up. And so I wonder if the team, if they approached the heads of the departments and said, hey, can you guys identify, 3 to 5 people in each of your departments who you think would benefit from this mentoring program, and just sit down with them and bring it to their attention. Just say, hey, we're offering this mentorship. We had a lot of success in the last one, and by no means are you forced to take it. It's an opportunity to get more experience, maybe learn some new departments in our bank. Would you be interested? And that way you're not forcing them. You're just showing that you show interest in the growth of that employee. And I think if they got that just from their supervisors, maybe that in of itself might be enough for them to say, oh, they care about me. They want to make sure. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Oh, well, these questions, we're going in these questions kind of backward. It says, how can we encourage people who really need mentoring to get mentoring? So, I guess that one goes with that one. All right, here's a good one. How do you get enough people to volunteer to mentor?
Yeah, I didn't really think about that one. I mean, fortunately, they did have enough mentors volunteering, but I don't know. I mean, a lot of times, what is the incentive for the mentor?
They mentioned a couple of them, and now this is possible. A couple of them came from the basis that they felt the inner desire to give back. So I wonder, with that, how many of our first round mentees will want to return as a mentor in the essence of paying it forward?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good incentive. I think being a mentor, there's still a lot of room for you to improve. And so, I don't know, I feel like if you feel like you're all like high up, you don't really want to go to anyone and like say, I need improvement. But doing this, you kind of get it anyway. You're going to benefit from it. You're going to learn from all the people, because you talk to other mentors too, I think, right? I mean, you would probably. And so it's just a whole different, I don't know, I think it just helps the bank overall. So I think that you'd want to be a part of that.
I think it could be good to invite people personally, as like the people who are leading the mentors, have them invite the mentors personally if they're having trouble getting enough, because it's kind of cool if someone goes up to you and says, I think you'd make a great mentor, like would you be willing to join our program? And that's kind of just, it's a big confidence boost and a wow, I can do this type thing. And I think that could bring in a lot of people.
I agree. I think that's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, I agree.
I wonder too. It's interesting because it says like, how do you get enough to mentor? And I also wonder how many of them are going to be repeat mentors. You know, I think once you just see the success from it, I think you'd want to come back and do it again. It's fascinating. So if you guys look back on Exhibit 5, that breaks down the different people who volunteered to be mentors. So they had 1 senior vice president, 4 vice presidents, 7 assistant vice presidents, and then just all the different salary grades below that. But nonetheless, so almost a third of them were VP related. So definitely some of the people that have a lot of influence with the company. And so I don't know, it is pretty neat. I think it'd be really cool for me to be like one of the lower level guys and I get taken under by one of the bosses. I would just feel like they really care. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to know if that incentive enough isn't reason for them to want to volunteer more, you know, or if you even brought back to their attention of saying, hey, do you guys have any mentors you had when you first started? Do you see an opportunity for you to pay it forward? Kind of like how we initially talked about it, but maybe trying to recognize an opportunity to remind people of that if they may have forgotten it in themselves. All right, so what do you guys feel overall? What would your individual approaches be for the program moving forward? It says be specific.
I think I'd continue to model it after the last time they did it. Continue to hold kind of meetings where former mentees get up there and mentors get up there and talk about their experiences, their successes, then go forward with, I guess, recruiting for the next one or holding applicants for the next one and just going forward from there.
I think maybe ask everyone who participated in the first one to just give any suggestions or anything that needs to be improved or just even the smallest details that might need to be changed, and then maybe make those small changes. But other than that, I would still stick with the assigning the mentors and keeping it kind of small and just advertising it, and I think keep it at maybe a year or like 8 months maybe. But I think overall I'd keep the model pretty much the same.
Yeah, I'd keep the model pretty much the same also. Just make sure it's integrated into the whole company a little bit better so that people who have to miss to go to their mentoring times aren't like having trouble with their superiors.
Well, if we all agree, it makes it really hard to vote on which one we like best. You know, it's interesting. I think kind of like the missionary challenge of, you know, you always leave them with a challenge. And I think that would be something I would try to implement, I think, moving forward, is challenging the mentors and the mentees to, you know, go find someone who you think would benefit from this. So that's not coming from a supervisor. It's not coming from management at all. I mean, it's a little different on the mentor side because some of them are management, but especially on the mentee side, it's you have a colleague coming to you saying, I love this experience. I loved it. It helped me. And as your friend, I think it'll help you too. And I think you should do this and challenge them. I think if you gave that approach, because I think that would cause them to challenge them rather than just talk about it. Because I'm sure they talk about it. You know, oh, I've been talking with such and such, this VP, and it's been really cool, yada yada. But it doesn't mean you're bringing awareness to the next person. Like, you should really do this next time the opportunity comes around. So, but other than that, I think the layout's great. I like the 1 year. I like the assigning the mentorship. I think that's crucial. I think that the individual trainings that are provided to the mentors and the mentees is excellent. I know I was in student council all 4 years of high school, and I can recall certain motivational speakers that stood out to me, and similar to the same nature as having guest speakers come in and address subjects. They just have a way of specializing certain elements, and I think that's really powerful for people to catch that. And I think everyone should listen to those. So I think that's really neat. So anyway, I'm pretty sure that's all of it. Well, any other thoughts or comments?
Yeah, all sounds pretty good.
All right. Go ahead and stop the broadcast then.